Welcome to Dueling Pens!
I'm SamiJo.
And I'm Andy. And joining us today is our guest duelist, Philip Wallace.
Hi everybody. Nice to be here. It was fun to be on the it was fun to be on your show. I enjoyed writing for you and hope you enjoyed the curveballs that I threw.
Yep, the whole ghost aspect of the thing. And we had been working with the whole supernatural aspect, but we haven't brought in the actual supernatural aspect. Like I was kind of loosely alluding to it with like the cult and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we now have a ghost that is tied to the box, and the fact that the box now has actual
mechanics,
properties, yes.
Yeah.
There's actual stuff that the box does and is capable of, or that we know of, is rather interesting. I do like the fact that you brought Braden back. I was real like sad when SamiJo killed him, because I had big plans for that guy.
I was just excited because you set him up for M, and then I read it before you did, and I got to run downstairs and be like, you get to write M.
I didn't. I had set him up to write M. Though, I mean, with the whole duel aspect, you can do whatever you want with it as long as it, progresses the story and that sort of thing. And
well, and the point is to throw some curveballs.
Yeah. And the fact that instead of going with the M character that I was setting him up for, he decided to, take a left turn and run off into the horizon there was that was interesting. It definitely is going to give me some different mechanics to work with inside the story in terms of how to work Braden in. Since, he can't really be interacted with outside of by, what were you doing with like his emotions?
His emotions could do things, and got that from Ghost. You know how Patrick Swayze character could eventually start doing things when he focused his emotions on things. Thought that was it's a neat concept originally, and why mess with a good thing? And I think it worked out pretty well.
No, it definitely works. Trying to describe how it affects, like for instance, him trying to get Dimitri's attention.
Yeah.
Trying to describe how that affects Dimitri itself was a bit of a challenge, I think.
Oh, definitely was for me. Coming up with it initially I just thought that just pressure, the fact that two souls or two entities are inhabiting the same space made it difficult for either one to do anything. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a good idea that you could use to help flesh him out even more when you use the character later.
Yeah. I also liked how the whole how Braden is specifically tied to the box.
Stuck with the box.
And I guess, what was it, the last sacrifice is tied to the box, or
right.
the most recent thing killed next to the box.
Yeah, it's basically when the idea is when something dies within the proximity of the box. I didn't discuss how far that was, but then it would eat the previous soul. Yeah.
Well, and that honestly also leads into another interesting mechanic. Because the fact that, like, box, whatever the box is, I mean, its power source, it's powered by the souls it consumes.
Sure.
So it would make sense that like, the cult sacrificing people and, Braden mentioning how he saw the other spirit getting kind of consumed, disintegrated, that sort of thing. I thought that was real interesting. The fact that it's got a power source, which means, like, it's got to do something. So I thought that was really interesting.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It was fun. How was it for you jumping into the middle of a story?
It was odd, since I've written things before, and trying to jump in the middle with everybody doing. That's why I kind of didn't want to play with M, because it felt not necessarily a trap, but it felt a little forced. And so I had some ideas for M, and it just felt like there was a little background of some sort that was missing. And so I didn't know exactly, like, I could figure out who M was and what they would kind of say, but without a little more background, which I thought that bringing in the description of the box and Braden's killer and that it helped flush out some things so that the story could progress with a little more insight into what's going on.
Yeah, no, and that definitely helped for certain because, like, for instance, Braden's family has had the box. Braden thinks the box is his specifically.
Yep.
Because it belongs to his family, which leads us to another avenue that we could traverse in terms of what the Etsons
Mean for Minos.
mean for Minos, their ties to the labyrinth, how involved are they specifically in, I don't know, say with the cult perchance. I mean, there's any number of things you can take into account for that. It definitely opens up a whole can of worms there that I'd like to sift through a little bit.
And maybe we could see Cynthia again.
Cynthia Caldwell, bane of my existence. Keep throwing her at me.
You threw her at me first.
Whoa.
This is very true.
Whoa. Okay, so I meant her to be kind of a slough character a little bit. Not that we wouldn't see her again when I originally had her, but like you have to bring in the rich, well-to-dos and all that other nonsense, you know, the hoity-toity types, and especially in like a Lovecraft noir type, you know, you got to have those debutantes. And so I kind of wanted to bring her in, but I didn't want her to be like too main of a character. I was more wanting to focus on Braden and Athena specifically, and just have this be like a crazy ex-girlfriend type of thing. And then you kind of kept bringing her back, and then you know, it's possible that she was the one that murdered Braden, and or the fact that the murderer could be hired by her to kill Braden and now to take Dimitri out for all those things. Yeah, we don't know. But it's the gift that keeps on giving. Cynthia.
It'll be fun to watch how everything unfolds.
Yeah.
And what the next step in the story is. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys had me, and I'd love to do it again. It's really great.
Well, with the whole guest duelist thing, that is something we plan to do more of as the story progresses. And this go around was a little bit more of a trial run.
Sure.
You know, first time doing everything, and thankfully you were more than willing to help us out with that, because we learned a lot during this, especially when it came to like, you know, what was that, scheduling conflicts and that sort of thing. Because it's a lot easier with me and Sammy here, because you know we live together mostly.
Work gets in the way of a lot of things. You know, I totally understand that. So, with Dueling Pens, I was just really curious. Are you guys? How long do you think the story's gonna go? Do you have a cutoff point, or are you just gonna go until you feel it's done? Like,
well, because there's no planning with this, because everything is first draft and off the cuff. I think it just is gonna go until it's like, oh, and we're done, until somebody randomly ends it, and then it'll be on to the next thing.
Okay, okay, yeah. I guess with writing, the only thing I'd be worried about, and this is, you know, just my experience thing, is you got to watch out for those. And I've already had one, those dream sequence endings, or the everybody dies kind of thing.
Yeah.
Though sometimes everybody dies can be okay, as long as it's like as long as it's done right, you know.
Yeah.
Big finale, box opens, eats everybody. I don't know, you know.
Well, this is Lovecraftian, so it's not going to end well.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It could end any number of ways. I have a few different ideas of how I'd like to end it. And personally, I think I've mentioned this before, I haven't really read much Lovecraft. Like, I'm familiar with Lovecraft as most people are, just because of, you know, media.
Do you like architecture?
Yes.
Well, then you like Lovecraft, because he loves his architecture.
Yeah, he does. Okay.
Trust me,
I'll
100%. You will get a
that.
description of all the buildings.
Okay. Well, I'll have to look into that. Like, I know Lovecraft from like media, and I've played a few games that have been based off of his writings.
It's a good genre. It honestly is.
Well, he's like isn't he like supposed to be like the grandfather of like, oh god, like horror, not like horror, but there's a specific genre that he spawned that created pretty much a majority of the like monster-y, unknown type horrors that we, you know, consume today.
And even think about it. Even in one of the most popular MMORPGs, World of Warcraft, the old gods. Look at all their names.
Yeah.
Like, they're 100% like having to do with type of Lovecraft, and half of them have tentacles. You know, tentacle faces,
Yeah.
tentacle arms.
No,
tentacle thing.
And if you think about it, like before they made like Archimon, you know, something you could fight. He was some big bad demon behind the scenes. I think his name was Archimon. Oh, okay. The big bad demon that was using the orcs to invade the world originally.
Oh yeah.
He was some big bad behind the scenes, and then, you know, World of Warcraft made him touchable, whereas before he was just some kind of omnipresent evil that was looming over the world. You know, and I find that a really cool idea, because a lot, from what I understand, because I've been researching Lovecraft a little bit, a lot of his writings had to deal with more of like existential crises type things, of like coming to terms with your own humanity and kind of how insignificant you are as a human being, and how big and scary the universe actually is, you know. And after doing some research, I think I'm going to be trying to lean a little bit more heavily into something like that. So I don't know, it could be interesting how we go with that sort of thing.
I think it's been a good challenge, just because you and I are both fantasy writers mostly.
Yes.
So we didn't even pick a genre to start with that we were actually like good at.
No. Good
Right.
at, comfortable
It's
with.
the best place to start. Do something you're both not comfortable with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, who doesn't like a good murder mystery type of thing going on?
Mhm.
And, you know, noir is always kind of cool. It's always got that kind of nostalgia feel to it, you know?
Mhm.
Like, there's so many great things happened with, like, the noir genre. So
I know I've been making you watch a lot of old
yeah,
film noir.
I gotta check into it. Was it The Maltese Falcon? I think is next on my list.
Mm-hmm.
That actually came recommended by you and my dad as well. So
And so is Humphrey Bogart.
Humphrey Bogart, yeah. Anyways,
And did you have any challenges this go around with this chapter?
you know, the more we write, like, I mean, and you've mentioned this before, it's easier to start a story than it is to keep it trucking through the middle. And I'm starting to find difficulties keeping it trucking through the middle. Like, I don't know how many times I had to stop and go, I mean, is this plausible? Am I opening up too many doors with this sort of thing? Do I need to, you know, like try to consolidate things and keep it to a baseline story, or can I still branch out and that sort of thing? Because I don't want to open it up so much that we're going to be writing this until, you know, the end of time. You know, I want to have a definite start, middle, finish to the story. Not to say we couldn't keep writing. I mean, potentially we could, but I mean, that would get monotonous and it would drone on and on.
Well, yeah.
So-
And eventually we would just be praying that both of our characters died.
So, yeah, right?
I think I'll hang out with Braden next to the box.
Hey,
oh
there
wait,
there you go.
box eats you. Can't do that.
We'll get to see Braden be eaten, and then
Why? What? Why?
What?
Why would you do
What?
that?
I don't
Why?
know. I don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
Why would you do that? He's such a nice guy.
He seems like a really
He's
nice fellow.
very
though,
helpful.
Though he has the box, and he had already opened 2 of the gates, which then, you know, Marty and her friend promptly closed, and
Good
Braden
choice.
had freaked out about.
I did think that was really good, because my character was like, ooh, look, we made things happen with the box. And you totally were like, yeah, you just took it right back at the beginning. Well done.
Yeah, but you know, if Braden ever learns to communicate with everybody, maybe he can help get it back to where it was, and
We have to get
point
like a
the-
Ouija board in
point
there.
the characters in the right direction, maybe.
Okay, sorry, I just had a bunch of ideas go off in my head all at once, and
Idea explosion.
Yeah, so much fun. Yes, Braden. Ooh, Braden's gonna be fun.
See,
Go start cool.
I think the hardest part for me was that since I got kidnapped, like, I didn't want, you know, my character is kind of, she's a teenager and stuff, and it's like I couldn't really
Plus, she was
say.
22.
Oh, well, 22, whatever. She's young.
She's young.
She's young.
Yeah.
20 teen.
20
teen. You know, so I couldn't really, like, I didn't want to write her out of the situation and, you know, make her a Mary Sue. But I wanted her to at least try to free herself. But then I had to bring you in because she wasn't going to get out of that by herself.
Right. Well, see, and that's the whole thing, is that, like, some of the stuff is getting a little, I don't know.
Well, I honestly thought that giving Dimitri a chance to save Marty develops their chemistry better. You know, and you know, and that's you know, that she doesn't see him as a Granted, I know she talked about how he's like, oh, I'm going to be a private eye and we're going to get famous and it's bring back to him to his glory days. But she does believe that he might be past his glory days. At least that's the impression I got.
Yeah.
And where she would take over the reins, you know. So I think that maybe this gives her an idea of that, well, maybe he still got it where got's what it takes, you know, got it where it counts. Yeah.
Well, see, and I could see that a little bit, but like I've mentioned before in the writings, is Dimitri sees her as she's a kid, you know, she's firing from the hip, she's doing what she wants, she's stubborn, she's headstrong, and she sees Dimitri kind of as a stepping stone. What's that?
No, my brain found ideas. I was like, how about this would be a good one. Is that you had a flashback with Dimitri on that case that you talked about. Now he was maybe at one point in time young and shooting from the hip.
Yeah,
that would be a good chapter.
I mean, it's
all the things.
But she sees him more as a stepping stone, from what I've read, in order to find her sister. And we've deviated from that pretty good. But I mean, we're only in chapter 3 now?
We're only in chapter 3, so we haven't
4?
Really... Like, there's been a lot going on with the box, but I mean, ultimately, Marty is absolutely motivated by finding her sister, and she wants to do whatever it takes to make Dimitri, like, great again so that she can find her sister, because she thinks that pulling him out of whatever, like, downward spiral that he's in, that, you know, this is the greatest detective she's ever heard about in her city, and so she needs him, but she needs him to get his shit together. So she's like working that like nobody's business to, you know, the best of her ability, which isn't that great because, again, she's like 22 and doesn't know that much.
Yeah, no, I could see that, I suppose. I mean, it's pretty interesting. And there's so many different things that we can do with it. And, honestly, bringing in a fresh duelist adds a little extra spice and you know, definitely gives us more to play with and different avenues to explore too. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, no, yes. Definitely. I definitely enjoyed having you write in there. So
it spices things up, and you know, because sometimes it can get, you know, I can only do so much to him, and he can only do so much to me. But you throw somebody else in, and it can really mess up the whole works, which is great.
Oh yeah. No,
it's sniper from the hill.
Yeah. You know. So I think that's pretty cool. I'd like to thank you for joining us for this After the Duel chat.
Yes, it was wonderful having you on.
It was definitely fun having you write in and screw with my plans and bring back my more favorite character that I really wanted to be a favorite character but wasn't, but now can potentially be again. Phoenix Rises. Anyways, this is Philip Wallace. You can find his book, Beta, The Scorpion and the Bull, co-authored by Tyler Anderson. But you can find that on Amazon.
It's a sci-fi adventure.
It's a sci-fi. Isn't it like a cyberpunk type thing going on?
Kinda.
Shadowrun-y,
cyberpunky.
So, I read it. I mean, it's pretty good.
It's a long time ago that it came out.
Yeah,
you know, I have half of a second one written, but it's got put on a back shelf for a while. But yeah, no. Maybe this will inspire me.
Maybe. We'll get you up and running. You know, that's the whole point of this. That's why it's a creative writing exercise, to get the juices flowing, get the writing wheels spinning, and that's one of the reasons why, you know, we started doing this, is because I've had writer's block for too long, and became a decent idea to kind of get the juices flowing for me. And I know Sammy's been enjoying this, and so maybe
it gives me ideas for my other stuff that I'm working on too. So.
All right.
Well, again, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun, and feel free to give me a jingle to do it again sometime.
All right.
Definitely a pleasure. All right. Well,
we'll see you guys later.
Right. Have a nice day.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this production,
remember to like and subscribe.
And don't forget to follow us on social media,
which you can find linked in our bio.
We'll see you next time
on Dueling Pens.
Bum, bum, bum.
I can't believe you left me in the room with that woman.